Now, well, I can hear you.
Mm-hmm. The soundtrack from Six Underground.
I just wanted to try something.
If you shop on Amazon, you should use Wikibuy. It's a browser extension that automatically compares Amazon's price.
And turn the mic back on. Okay. Alright, it looks like everything's good. So, what's up, everybody? Computer's handling it well. We got 2 viewers. We got Renee and Crystal and Greg.
3.
And this is 2 up there.
Oh.
But I see 3 names: Renee, Greg, and Crystal.
Technically, I would be counted too then.
Yeah, but you're not participating, so it didn't count you. So it's only 2 people who chatted recently, so the number drops. So, what's everybody doing tonight? We just watched the movie Six Underground.
With Ryan Reynolds.
Let me see if I can. Make this a little bigger. Okay. Lately,
The X thing that you caught yesterday?
that wasn't too crazy. That was a new. We do details. I can look at most recent.
Chat on YouTube is not open. So Mark, are you just viewing the video and can't chat? Because I know when I go on, there's a specific thing under YouTube where it's really stupid.
You have to hit live chat.
Yeah. There should be a message box. I don't even know if he's watching this. I'll message it.
Where's Mark?
He just commented on my post about the live chat. So
You may or may not in here. You gotta hit live
that's
chat.
what
Probably this one, Renee, where the box pokes through the front bow shock, and what they call the magnetopause in the model was almost completely separated from the bow shock. Where here you can see the corners of the box. That's a pretty crazy one. That I've caught.
Oh, he's watching. So I sent you a picture. If you look under the video, it'll say live chat. You may have to hit the X if it has an ad open or something. I know that's what I have to do a lot. I mean, at least as an Android user, is it the same on iPhone?
Yeah. It's just, you gotta hit live chat. I mean, I can move. I think I could pop this out and put it over there, but. Well. There's another good one, Renee.
Hitman's Bodyguard. Yes, they're making a sequel. Sorry. Ryan Reynolds is my boyfriend, so.
This is a pretty good capture, Renee, this month. 15 days ago, a good shot of blue. Well, the ones we call blue. Turn this out. Which one? The mic audio green? See, we don't have like a nice mic, so it's just my headset, and we have it kind of in between us. But I turned it up. Is that better? Glad my latest video can help you, Renee. I know I'm jumping around the questions, but what you doing?
Troubleshooting for Mark. His laptop may not have it, so I'm gonna try and see.
I mean, some of the classic Siggies are, Rod, his staff. Usually used to be when we'd see a CME from the sun, it would, the compression and the decompression would show us, but now with Earth pushing so hard lately, we actually get some good stuff without a CME.
Yeah, Renee, I agree with you. He has a knack for teaching. He speaks very slowly and makes sure he explains things every which way so everyone can understand. Very good trait of his. What is my... This is not my... What?
I mean, the live chat button's the same on the...
I know, but he
desktop.
said it's not up, so I'm going to see if it's just a glitch, because it's on my phone. You worry about questions, I will troubleshoot. One can understand. Very good trait of...
It just shows up on the right automatically.
I know.
So let's just open up ISWA and see what's going on.
My 500-year-old computer.
Down here. Turn the screen towards you a little bit more. Oh, these are old. Hey, in case you use ISWA, one way you can tell if a signet has been updated, so you open the page, and I have these 6 tools. 3 of them are up to date, and 3 of them are not. All you gotta do is look at the green circle here. The green circle means it's already updated. Gray circle is not. So you just double click, and well, I know which 3. But that's all you gotta do to bring them up to date.
His is blank with no one in there. Hang on, Mark. I'm waiting for my laptop to boot up as well. But it's old. So, it's an oldie. If you've asked a question already, I promise we're getting down the list. We're just trying to find our footing right now. There was one about earthquakes.
Yeah. I mean, pretty crazy lately is they've adjusted the scale so much lately that we're seeing a lot more green in here. But that's all they're doing is they're just adjusting the scale to kind of pad the numbers,
That's not how you spell your name.
But we are seeing a lot of push from mom lately. I mean, it's just almost non-stop. Earthquakes, nothing major. I mean, I have my app set up to only to alert me with 6.0s or larger. My favorite place is Dutch Cinch's Twitch live stream, but I've already burned up my 5-minute preview today because I'm not gonna pay to check out his live stream. So the second best is Eric's favorite, but it doesn't show the EMSC feed, so it's only what the USGS shows. So it's kind of leaving half the earthquakes out. Huh, that's interesting. 68 minutes. A little glitch in their page. But we're at 9 hours on a 24-hour map, so which is pretty much par for the course these last few months. It looks actually pretty quiet. I mean, there isn't anything above 4.2 per the USGS. Let me see if I can get over onto Dutch. I think I'm. Looks like I got some more free time. But I hate.
Have we been wobbling bad past few days too?
I don't know. I haven't been using the compass and checking. And, we haven't been getting any other readings since I did the video.
I
So
feel you're very ill prepared for this broadcast. I'm just kidding.
Let's see. Okay. See, I mean, Dutch is, Dutch, but it's only the good place where you can get both feeds, the USGS and the EMSC. I mean, planet-wide, I mean, we're busy. As you can see, this is pretty damn busy. And Puerto Rico is still going off. So that's why I like this over the other quake map, because it just shows so much more. There's so much the USGS does not report.
The moon seemed weirder than normal past few days. That's what the moon is doing lately.
Yeah. Well, the moon is basically smiling like the Cheshire Cat right now in the northern hemisphere. Well, I'm in Virginia, so it's basically 90 degrees out from where it should be. It should just be a crescent with, like, the tips of the two tips should be vertical, and they're completely horizontal right now. So if you haven't seen the moon smiling like the Cheshire Cat, go outside right now. Hopefully it's not cloudy where you live, and you'll see it. And the bright star off to the, well, depending where you are, kind of to the left would be Venus, which has been a debate lately, but the apps show it as Venus, and this other page. Let's see. Oh, it's in the Catfish announcements. I see that the first announcement is still the moon.
It
Yeah.
is.
Well, if the first one of the announcements, but the first one it's shown is still the moon.
He went to another live chat, and it won't open there either. He's rebooted, clicked off, clicked back on.
Okay, right there. This is what I'm looking for. Let me close Dutch because I only get a few minutes. So this is one page I look at if I want to know the position of things.
My pink one's down here.
Basically, you're seeing the moon, and then from our perception, you'll see Venus to the right of the moon. And so Venus is in the correct position.
Do you have headphones that aren't Bluetooth?
No, I don't think so. Maybe in the bottom of my bag in that my little plastic thing. Just grab it. It's right there. You're gonna have to grab it for it. And then grab the little toolkit in the bottom. There may be something in there. But I think I took them out in there in the office right now. Seemed weirder than normal the past few days. Since you mentioned wobble, Renee, I want to kind of clear something up that I've been seeing. And the wobble of the Earth is not making the moon turn like a cartwheel. I think people are confusing that. Maybe I'm even misunderstanding it, but it's not. Oh yeah. Oh, go in the front pocket, and there's an adapter. Oh no, never mind. That's the wrong way of the adapter. So yeah, sorry. That's all I got.
I have an adapter on that charger. I guess I'll just have to go to the car.
Well, yes, you just have to go to the car, baby. But
The question I had is why don't then, instead of saying when you want people to notice, not say, hey, have you noticed the moon's cartwheeling? Because technically the moon isn't cartwheeling. We turned, so now it looks like it. So it can be confusing if you're going to, just anyone on the street and saying, have you noticed that the moon's doing cartwheels? And then what the F are you talking about? Why not just say, hey, have you noticed we tilted? You can tell by the moon.
that's a little bit more detailed, though. We start with because the moon looks like it is, so. And then when they get these, I explain that though. If they actually ask more questions, I'll bring up, hey, the moon is turning like a clock, and then I'll show pictures, and then they ask more, or sometimes they'll say, well, why? And I'll say, well, because the moon is doing that because the Earth is turned on its side, and from our perception, we are now seeing the moon do this.
Because when I talked to that hygienist, I approached it a different way. I said, have you noticed that we're just tilted now? You can tell because the moon is turning in a different way than it's supposed to.
I mean,
That's just,
I
I
think it's
just,
half a dozen one way, half a dozen the other way. I mean, it could go either way with people. Either way works, I think.
yeah. But I could see how people could get confused that it's the moon doing cartwheels.
Hey, truck. Glad you made it.
Is it purple Venus?
No. We've always seen Venus as white,
Mhm.
very bright white. Someone had posted an article in the group, and it had a red tint to it. Now that could be like a camera thing, but maybe that red tint is from Horus, because we do have a red sun behind ours. But to get back to, it's not the wobble making the Earth turn like a clock. It's that the Earth is on its side, and the Earth's spin, as it normally spins for night and day, is, from our perception, is making the moon turn like a clock. It's not the wobble. The wobble is making the sun rise and set in different positions day to day. That's what the wobble's doing. I mean, it's not the sun wobbling, it's us wobbling, but the way we measure that is using a fixed object in the sky, and the sun is the most consistent way. You can use the moon, but the rise and set times change by an hour every day with the moon, where the sun is going to be a minute, maybe a minute every day different. So the sun's the better way to check for Earth wobble.
Well, Mark is watching, but he can't get in the chat. He's tried a bunch of times, so we appreciate the watching.
Yeah, sorry, Mark. Sounds like you got a computer problem. Do you have a phone? Try using your smartphone. You know, if you want to try to get in the chat. Change this to live chat. Sorry, Green. I don't do well with sarcasm. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or you're being shocked that you didn't understand the Earth is tilted. Let me know.
We're all sarcastic in this house except for him, and he hates it.
Yes.
He hates it.
I don't mind it some, but it's just like 3 sarcastic people all the time. Yeah, it gets quite frustrating.
Especially a sassy 16-year-old girl. And she's very good and well-versed in sarcasm. She's top-notch.
Let's see, who said that? Yes, Green, I agree with the 3 pyramids are signifying the 3 suns rather than Orion's belt. Like Eric says, because 2 are large and 1 pyramid is smaller, so Ra and Horus, aka the blue and red Kachinas, are much bigger than our sun, so I do agree with him on that.
How do you tell people magnets are aligned? Could show them.
Where was that?
Same thing you were looking at. Yeah.
I mean, all you gotta do is Google the magnetic field and then show them my video, or yeah, I mean, even my video, I did that specifically, showing the field they show us, that they taught us, and then the real magnetic field, but that's just me saying it. There's plenty of Scientific Lee videos showing the correct field in the Farrell cell. I mean, having them look at a Farrell cell video was really the only way to show them where they might believe it. I mean, it just depends how open-minded they are. Some people will. It's kind of like the Matrix movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but in the first one, and Neo is going through the training. What's the one? Not the Sentinels, but the agent training with the woman in the red dress. Morpheus says that so many people are ingrained that they will die to protect the system. It's the same thing with with people now, is they would rather deny rather than get out of their comfort zone to accept something new. So it's kind of the same thing with me. There's so many things in movies now that we understand things, that there's so many things in movies that just kind of like, it is right in Hollywood that they are slowly telling us, you know, like you see the cotton candy skies, you see red in the movies now, you see all kinds of things in the movies now.
That's like in that Leo DiCaprio movie we just watched, Inception. Is at the end, you leave that movie, like the first time I watched it, you feel good. Oh yay, he got out, he saved the guy from being in limbo. Yet we completely negate the fact that they were using corporate espionage and planting an idea in this guy's brain that was completely wrong and immoral, but it's okay. It's okay, because they came out of it good. It's like all the stuff they want us to be okay with that they're adding to movies, being like, no, look, we make it in movies. So it has to be real, and now it's normal to look at the cloud and see the differences. They're just training us not to acknowledge that that wasn't right before. Oh.
Well, I went down. Welcome. I missed the name. Now it's gone. Oh, End of Time. Welcome to the live stream. And Truck Dog. And don't worry about it. I mean, it was an honest little mistake. Don't worry about it.
He gets so much more on a daily basis. We've been together 20 years, and my whole family's sarcastic. He's used to it. He just can't, like, if you're being sarcastic, he's not sure if you're being serious or not. So he doesn't, like, take it wrong. He just doesn't know how to reply.
Can't always tell if it is sarcastic.
Yeah.
Where did he say that? I can't see it.
Where you see what?
Where you're just coming. Did he explain it?
No.
Oh. Okay. I don't think he is here, so hello, Truck Dog's fiance. Let me give all the CV and elections.
Cannot
Oh.
even get them to look up.
All I can say, if they won't look, then just move on. I mean, you have to give people free will. You can't force it on them because they're not going to listen anyways, and then you're just wasting your time. You really just have to, like I do, I just try to plant the seed with the moon, and if they don't really care, I just move on. And won't waste my time on them. Like I said, there are people that are just comfortable in their lives. And another way I kind of thought of it in the very beginning when I first started learning things was, should I tell people? Because if they take it the wrong way, I always felt like I could destroy their lives. Like they're so ingrained in the system and they're so comfortable, and then you tell them something like, just for example, the world is going to end, and they just take it so wrong, and they just take it so personally, and then they start having arguments with their wife and their kids, and because they're so destroyed that the world is not what they knew. So then, I got worried, like, could I ruin marriages and people's lives with that?
You could. I mean, it's fear. All of it's fear-based, and once you learn to stop not being afraid, it's much easier. But the problem is so many people let fear run their lives. So, I mean, if you want to...
Sorry, I'm distracting you. He's enjoying your boobs.
Apparently they're a distraction?
No.
Oh. I'm blushing now. Yeah, so, I mean, unless you want to hogtie someone and then say, look at the sky, I mean, you can do that if you're willing. Don't say we sent you to do that, please. But, honestly, so many people don't want to hear things because they fear difference. Like my sister, she won't hear anything. She uses don't care. It really sucks because you're going to get a group of 10 people, maybe one of them will walk away and go, and as long as you're planting any seed you can, one day someone's going to go, oh my goodness, something's different. That's all you can do. And then when someone comes to you with questions, you can say it, but it takes a lot of risk of putting yourself out there. So, and it can cause a lot of strife in marriages as well. When John first got into this, it was just...
Which I tried to get her to do a post about. She hasn't yet. Because I'm sure there are some spouses and group members that, are totally against, and she would know. So go ahead.
Just when John started looking at it and stuff, I was like, oh my God, my husband is crazy. But I've also always, as a kid, known something wasn't right. So we're two very like-minded people. Just where he was going with it, I basically grew up as, well, it is the way it is. You can't really do anything. And then when he started getting into it, it was just like, oh my God, my husband's lost my mind. What do I do? But more being interested in what he wanted to look at, and looking at some of the things he was interested in, and noticing the differences, and already knowing something was wrong, I started going and turning and going, okay, as a spouse, I need to support my husband and bring him up, but also what he's saying is making sense. And what he's saying is being proven by things that he can show me in my face. So I don't want to do that post because it has a big question of the foundation of a relationship. It's like if you have a sucky foundation where you're already kind of just adrift, it's going to be very hard to bring someone to start listening to this stuff. It really is.
And I started her out with the moon.
Yeah, the moon. See, I've always... No.
And she didn't want to know anything that I didn't take pictures of. That was all she wanted to know at first, was proof things that I had seen and had pictures of. That's all she wanted to know at first.
Because I am very skeptical. I'm a very skeptical person. I have to see proof. I want to see it with my own eyes, feel it with my own eyes. I have to. But it makes it better because I can really weed things out also, but he would show me these things and I'd be like, well, can't really do that. Can't deny what's being shown in my face, but I'm also much more open-minded than a lot of people.
I'm just seeing if he's commenting anywhere else. I don't see anything. Nothing in the group chat.
What?
Nothing in the group chat.
About what?
Nothing there. That's all. Nobody's coming there asking questions. End of time. Check. Are you in Catfish Glass Eye group, or are you familiar with Eric Briggs and his YouTube channel, Angry Catfish Briggs? If not, highly suggest you check at least Eric out on Facebook, because this is where you're gonna find the correct information of what's going on. And I put up his Facebook page. This is 9 years of research. He's also a glass blower. If you're looking for the truth, you may not like it, but it's going to be the truth. And my Facebook group is based on what his research has shown, and we're continually proving all that.
End of time, does your wife support you and look into the stuff? Or is it just pretty much separate? You're into this and she is into her thing? Yes, that's very true, Chuck Dog. It's very hard to see the truth when they're just filling. It's fillers.
Okay, cool. He's familiar with Briggs. Okay. So he's on the right page then. But if you want more, I get into more detail, and I'm more fine-tuned to specific things in the group, where Eric covers a lot of things GovCo and current events, where I kind of just stick to the science. I mean, it's not Nibiru. Nibiru is probably a planet that's coming along with Ra or Horus. We don't know which, but it doesn't really matter, because the two main players in all this are our two other suns. We live in a trinary system. That is the lie that they are covering with everything else that goes on that they talk about. And a lot of people, I guess, they are still focused on Nibiru or Planet X, but that's a planet isn't doing what we're seeing. It's suns.
Well, at least she's starting to understand what's going on. I mean, at least you were able to get over that boundary so you can start showing her stuff. Because
it takes time. She's
It
got to
does.
be ready, so don't push her. I had to really back off and just let her find on her own, and she did her own research, and after a while, how long did it take you really to, like, a year?
yeah, mostly.
I mean, I even had Catfish Glass Eye going for several months.
But like I said, I am very skeptical. So. Oh, okay. Well, it took me a year. It took me less than that, but I'm also very stubborn and don't like to admit when I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, I may have known earlier, but I wasn't about.
Admit nothing, deny all. Women's motto.
No. But I'm a huge researcher. I love researching. I'm very into skincare and food and the pans we cook with. Like, I will research till I can't read anything anymore. And when you research this stuff, you have to be very careful because there's so much stuff out there that, like, there's this one book I wanted to read about, I think it was the Anunnakis. I think that's what it was. There was an older book that I wanted to read that was along the lines of some of the things that John was telling me about. Couldn't find it anywhere. Couldn't find it in a library, old books, thrift stores. I mean, this is a book written by someone who lived with the Hopis, and chronicled a lot of this stuff, but you can't find his book. The only way you're going to find his book is if you happen upon a basement. I mean, they try to hide so much. So even on the internet, when you're researching, it's so hard to find the truth. And that's why I think it's so important that John puts this page out there so people can find some truth without being bamboozled, because there are so many people out there who don't really want to. They want to put out the truth, but they like money so much more.
And not everybody wants money. Unfortunately, there are those that have their channels now that they're listening to the people that are in it for the money, and they're repeating it, and then it's just a cycle. Then that's what's going around. And we're not going to mention any channels because it's not what we're about. I'm not perfect at that, but I try hard because it isn't really that important. But there are some that are really in it for the money, or
The street cred.
one thing that who are you talking to?
Tegan, there are no towels because they're in the washer.
Oh,
She wanted to shower. I told her
Okay.
to use hand towels.
there are none of those either.
No, they're in there.
But any channel you're looking at, if they won't talk about the moon doing cartwheels or turning like a clock, they're probably not out for your benefit. They're not really giving you the right information. Someone was commenting in one of my videos recently. They were asking me about others, and I gave them my opinion about it, and there was one channel that completely would delete comments about the moon and would not and refuse to talk about it. But he's a big name, and he talks about a lot of different topics. But the guy refuses to talk about the moon and deletes any comment about it. So, I don't like any guy or any channel
Eric's
that.
here.
What's up, Eric? He's talking about end of times. Calm
I
down.
know. I saw that. That's okay. End of time. It's fine. I mean, it's what it is. I obviously not bashful about it.
So again, if that channel doesn't want to talk about the moon, they're probably not out to give you correct information, because if they're gonna hide one thing that's very actual, important, and is obvious to everybody, what else are they hiding? They want to talk about everything else but that, and that is the biggest sign out there that everyone can see without any kind of equipment. All they got to do is walk out their door and go look at the moon 3 hours apart, and you're gonna see it. But yet, so that's my opinion on it.
And that's great, Endgame, that you're getting her to start buying and prepping, because at least she's recognizing it, and eventually it will get more and more. There is still a lot I'm skeptical about when John tells me something and he can see it in my face. I wear my emotions on my face, so I still look into things and I'm still skeptical, but I'm there and I'm with open eyes. And especially, it was very big for me to start being involved in his page, because I want the information out there. I want people to hear this who are searching for answers to why they feel something's wrong. Something is not right. Look at the sky. And I wanted people to have an open forum to go to where they can feel safe and not ridiculed, but also get answers, and good answers, and answers that will teach them how to find more answers, not just give them the answers. It's that old motto, you give a man a fish, he can, he eats for a day. Teach a man a fish, and he'll eat for a lifetime. You have to teach these people how to look for the answers. And I constantly stock up now. Costco is ridiculous. I stock up so much stuff. I think we have like 12 cases of water right now.
Which may not be enough. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, one of John's friends actually, Truck Dog, you're talking about your Facebook friends. One of John's friends, when he did that live moon video that he left me out of, had all of his friends tagged. And so it was very big for him to do that video and tag all of them. And one of his friends started asking questions, and you guys laid it to him. And it was very a lot for him. And I told John, I said, well, you know, he started asking questions, and then you kind of lost him. So he messaged him personally, and then the guy just blew him off and blocked him. I was like, well, maybe it just came off a little rude, because I could see, because you guys are very supportive of each other, which is great. You guys are defending of each other, supportive of each other, but you can take, some of you guys can take it a little far. So when he went and blocked John, I messaged him, and it was a friend from John's childhood. And when he blocked me, I was like, well, you did all you can. That's on him now. I mean, there are a lot of people who will just stop talking to you.
Well, since he got rude, I removed him. In time.
How was he rude?
He said, fuck you, Eric.
Oh.
Doesn't matter who he said it to. If he wants to be like that, he's gone. Oh, well. Oh, it was just, there we go. I put him in timeout instead. Okay. Well, does anybody have any other questions? I don't think we've had any in a while. That's right, he still does. Yeah, Chuck Dobb, though, we gotta keep it a little bit respectful in the group. In my group.
I mean, I remind John all the time. I know Eric handled things one way. He's been doing this forever and has dealt with a lot of stress from it. And, you know, rightfully so. He's earned the right to be whatever he wants to be. You know, he doesn't put up with idiot stuff like that. But John and I, like, you know, I've always lived by the motto, you catch more bees with honey than you do vinegar, and I try to keep him a little more in check, and he tries to keep a little more in check, and keeping it a polite area with some good discussions. You know, we're a little more soft-handed. There are some things, though, that, you know, I'll see and I'll be like, what the hell? What the hell? And he's like, just let it, we're good. Everyone has their own way of putting their message across, and one way is not right. I mean, there's not just one right way. Eric has a lot of followers. I mean, he taught John. He got John listening, and Eric has a ton of followers who love the way he does things. There are people who love the way John does things. What?
He didn't get me listening. I found
I'm
him.
sorry. He found him, and he's been a big help, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's been a big help learning it.
Sorry,
learning his research.
I misspoke.
It's okay.
So, you know, and I know a lot of people prefer John's way of teaching. Neither are wrong. Both are getting the message across. And
No,
that's what
Eric's
it's all
not here.
about.
Eric left.
Oh.
Yeah. But Kendra got her keys out. I'm assuming somebody, a locksmith, came by or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have eyes and ears open. You know, one thing I've been trying to do, I'm a Scorpio, so I'm very passionate, and I know that's not an excuse, but it is. And a lot of things is, if I let negative energy in, I just feed off of it. I mean, just like a virus goes through me. And I've been really trying to only have positivity come in, and my sister also is the same way. We grew up the same household. So her ears, she doesn't listen to anything I say. Anytime talking about John, she was tagged in the video. You know, it's very frustrating, especially when it's your own family and you want to tell them something that's going to save them. And maybe not save them, but open their eyes so they can be more prepared. And they're like, nah. Like, we watched Dark Waters about the Teflon incident and everything like that, and I was appalled. I was appalled that we were cooking with pans that were literally poisoning us, only because I didn't do my research. And even though it's technically safe, it's only safe up to a certain temperature. And I know I have cooked way above those temperatures. And when you burn stuff, it's releasing that chemical. So I tried to tell her, because she's a very big researcher too. But she doesn't research the right stuff. It's like, I don't even know what to describe what she researches. Not relevant things that are really...
People just research what's on their frame of reference of
Right.
life.
You know, she went into crazy detail about researching my nephew being homeschooled, but she doesn't mind she's feeding him food out of poisonous pans. You know, so today I tried with her, or yesterday I tried with her, yeah, hopefully, but usually not with my sister. But yeah, for most people, they'll remember our words. But I tried with her yesterday. She called me up. She said, hey, you want to hear something really crappy? And I was like, no. She did not like that at all. I kind of stopped her in her tracks, but she said, I'll tell you anyway. But I hope she does come around. I love my sister, of course. I haven't talked to my younger sister about it because she just... Not only is she just not responsive, she just is naive. But, I know John, he works with his brother, and he's dropped little
Close enough.
seeds into his brain at work to where he was thinking about stocking up supplies and stuff, so,
Well, that was only because of coronavirus.
in the coronavirus.
That was a mainstream thing.
I don't want to get on the coronavirus because my view is the flu is killing more people right now than the coronavirus.
Well, I guess everybody left but Truck Dog, huh? Because he's
Mark
the only
said-
one talking.
Mark's watching, but he can't type, and he said give everyone
Mark
our love.
Orlando. Okay. Hey, Mark. I wasn't sure what Mark you were talking about.
Yeah, he's here. Hi, he's watching us on the big screen, he said.
Cool. He'll just have to ask his questions in the chat. Wherever he's chatting with you.
Huh?
Where is he chatting with you?
Oh, in the comments of my post.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, yeah, you can chat in this. I don't mind sitting here if you want to be involved, and I'll pass your message.
We're both looking at our phones. So.
Yeah, all you can do is plant a seed, and that's why when John had that big dilemma about making the page public, I understand why everyone wanted it private. Oh, Renee's here still.
Yeah.
I
mean, we're showing 9 viewers, but.
I know that I don't know if I was the only person, but I definitely felt that it needed to be public. But I also get everyone else's feeling of keeping it private. So my compromise with John was, look, all I want is a safe place for people who just maybe, there are some people who are going, I think I sent something, let me search around. And then they get onto groups that they don't need to be on, that they should not be on. So I wanted to also, I said, okay, well then at least change the description that comes up, because he put that really new one on there that's kind of cool and kind of cute, but it really only resonates with people who are, you know, really into it and paying attention and already know a lot that's what's going on. It's a very personal introduction paragraph. I think it should be more general and have a little more information in it, welcoming people. This is a safe place to ask questions if you're noticing differences. So that was really important to me. I asked for some ideas of what to do. No one really replied, so I guess I'll have to come up with something on my own.
I was trying to. There it is. Because this would be where there were any questions.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to get it to.
Well, there was one question that about Venus and stuff, but we figured out that, so. Yeah, Mark said 7 or 8, and I said 8. So I took you into consideration, Mark. I was like, we got to be there, get people in there at times we need. Is the moon still smiling? I can check for you.
Yes.
I'm going to at least do my research and check.
Her name is Heather.
It's smiling right here.
Yeah.
It didn't go that way. You said it
It's
would
gonna
go
go
that way.
no. I said every day it's gonna be.
Oh, I thought you meant tonight.
It's gonna rise an hour later, hour earlier every day.
Oh yeah, I'm Heather. I'm his better half. I've become more and more involved as the days go on, because I want to also. Another thing is you know, he also works, and we're a single income household. He's the worker. I work obviously here, so I want to take some of that from him so he can stress out. But this is a big passion for him, not just a passion, a mission. So I know he likes doing a lot, but I like to get in there and really help him where I can. So I'm around a lot and stuff, and handling some of the member joining lists. So if I've added you, you know, obviously that's me. If I've added you, that's me.
Yeah, Trina asked, okay, and that's kind of a question I have, and how could Horus be always behind the sun when Earth rotates once a day? Well, and we take a year to orbit. I've been thinking GO satellites basically hovers. Well, that's one question I have, is how could Horus always be behind the sun a year since we orbit around the sun? And I just don't have the answer for that one. That's one question I have, is how could Horus always be behind the sun if we're orbiting it? And you know, and I had my doubts, and then I figured out the Ferro cell in the sky, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's showing us a magnet, so it's got to be there somehow.
That's good that she's getting it, Truck Dog. I mean, a lot of things also that kept me from even wanting to be open about it, or even, I don't know, hesitant to know about it, was I loved my life and I didn't want it to change, and hearing that something may be happening and being big, again, fear, because I love my life and I don't want to change.
And then Truck Dog's question was figure out the mechanism that creates hole punch clouds.
Who's Truck Dog in the chat?
Corey.
Oh, okay.
There's a bunch of replies here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you were the one asking about how to. Okay. Different names.
Hole punch clouds. Basically, the different layers of the atmosphere, like they'll have our atmosphere, it's in several layers. And then there's like a thin layer in between each. And that's where the clouds basically, so the thicker part of the layer is all vertical vortices or tornadoes in a sense. But they're all alternating, where one is wide at the top and then thin at the bottom, and then next to it would be the exact opposite. It's counterclockwise and counterclockwise. And then in between those layers is just a horizontal layer of energy flow. And that's the thin part where they call like a skin in between each thicker layer. I don't know all the names, troposphere, ionosphere, all that, but it's basically vertical energy flow is stronger there, so it clears out the clouds. Like the feather clouds, like Kendra's pictures, that we think is an actual field line touching the ionosphere. So, like in the feather ones that she shows, there's the cloud layer, and then where the feathers were just below that, they were at like at a slightly different level, and I think that's a field line actually touching the ionosphere, dipping in and pushed through. So maybe a hole punch cloud is also like a circle of field lines, one field line that just punched through. Oh, Kendra made it. Even though you're in Denver.
So, Truck Dog, do you want me to call you Corey or Truck Dog? Either or.
Just do Truck Dog in the chat.
Okay, Truck Dog. Your childhood friend who you mentioned, has he been asking more questions? Oh, okay. I'll call you Truck. Has your childhood friend been asking more questions, or did you just kind of plant that seed and you're letting him run with it? Well, have you thought maybe sending him to the group? I mean, would he be up for that, to find out more information?
And that's the point of the group, is to invite people too so that they can learn.
I mean, he can come, and if he doesn't like what he's hearing, he can leave. I mean, I don't think some people realize that. It's like, if you have a question, but you're not sure if you believe it, you can come here and ask questions, and if you're like, no, it's like, bye. Like, I don't know why people think they don't have free will. It's like, join my group, you must always be in here now.
Yeah, I mean, you can invite people and then they choose to accept or decline. And that was part of the discussion of opening the group up. I didn't understand how people wouldn't invite people.
Yeah.
You invite the people, they get the invitation, and then they choose to join or not. They can, once they have the invitation, they're in preview. If they don't accept it, or say they haven't declined or accepted it, they sit in preview mode, meaning they can look through the group. They can like things, they just can't comment until they accept the invitation. So they can preview everything and then make up their own mind. If they choose to decline, then that's their free will. And again, we've got to give them their free will. We can't force it on them, because even if we do, they're never going to listen. So there's no point in like forcing it down their throat, because if they don't have the free will.
And even if you're inviting a friend and you're like, well, I hope he gets accepted, I can tell you I've been most of the person accepting people, and I know John has told me that he's been much more lenient about what he used to let in, just because we're trying to get people in to even look, and just even to look. And then if they want to leave, they can leave. If they become a problem, we'll make them, we take them off. But at least we can keep out whatever trolls that we can, and we can give people just a peek of what possibly they may want to learn, and then we may just end up with new subscribers who really want to learn and are like, I can't believe this. A lot of people have found this page and been like, this is amazing. I feel like I have a family here, because so many people have a lot to talk about. And I know for a lot of people it's hard, because you're juggling kids, you're juggling your marriage, you're juggling your job, you're juggling school, life, everything. So it's very hard to sit down and watch a lot of these videos that's lined up. But when you're watching a YouTube video, you could be watching one of these videos. I mean, John doesn't do long videos at all. He tries to keep it quick, because that's his time. Because as supportive as I am about this, I'm also very, very selfish when it comes to my time with him and our kids' time with him. Our kids are getting much older. They're going to be gone soon. So it's very, I know that time can get away from you. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I didn't watch his Feral Cell video until today, and I know that's terrible. But it really is nice to just let people in and see if this is what they needed, what they wanted to find.
All right, Chuck Dog, I got you here. I made a quick little drawing.
You don't have to be careful. You send them our way, and then if they have a problem, that's the thing with it not being public, is we do have the option if someone becomes a problem, or, it's okay. Sorry.
No problem. See, that's what I mean by vertical vortices. The thin layer is a horizontal. I know it's crappy, but I'm trying to get it a little brighter. My camera's horrible. As you can see, this is how hurricanes and tornadoes form, because these vortices are vertical, and it's one of them. They're always turning. I don't remember which way they are, but it's clockwise and counterclockwise.
You need a black marker.
No, it's just the lights flickering. I may have this backwards, but that's okay. And this is all double helix flow. That's okay. The problem is see, the horizontal layers are where the clouds are, and we see clouds at different layers and levels. So these vertical vortices it's fine, baby, may change in size. Obviously, that's how tornadoes and hurricanes are formed, is each layer. So the thin layer is like the skin of the layer, between the troposphere and the ionosphere, and that's where, let me get the double helix part in there, a little note, and that's where the clouds move in that thin skin layer, and then the thicker part is the vertical vortices. So, you know, maybe one of these vertical vortices punch through, and then basically, because when energy moves, matter moves the opposite direction, so then it clears it out. It may also be, you know, a field line actually punching through, maybe in a circular fashion, and that could do it. Let's see if I can find. I know Eric's got those pictures. Of Kendra's clouds. Here. See if I can- well, as big as it's gonna get. Now see how, to me, this is like something laying down here. How they're lower than the clouds themselves. This to me is field lines actually touching that layer and laying down like a bed, like you laying in your bed. How you kind of sink in and push the top layer down a little bit. So I think these are actual field lines touching the layer here, and it's still, this is double helix energy flow. Specifically halo wave to Ouroboros field, until it dissipates, the energy dissipates, and then it just spreads out to the sides once the energy dissipates, and that's how those clouds form. The energy is in the center, and then as it moves along it dissipates and just spreads out to the side.
To answer your other question, Truck, I think the spraying is trying to cover up a lot of stuff, but I also think it's making a lot of stuff come to light also, that it's emphasizing a lot of stuff they didn't anticipate it emphasizing. Wouldn't you agree?
No, the byproduct is it creates a ferrofluid
Right.
that shows us Horus.
So it's emphasizing so we can see things better.
They're spraying to reflect a lot of the radiation coming in the atmosphere to keep the grid up. And I think that's one reason, you know, 'cause they're trying to reflect a lot of Ra's and Horus's energy, excess energy coming in, you know, and instead of just one sun being here where everything is accustomed to, as you know, we have three, so that's 3 times the amount of energy coming into the earth. So they have to try to reflect some of it out to protect the grid. There's a lot of YouTube videos, like channels, that just show footage that people have recorded and sent in where there's really no commentary whatsoever. It's just compilations of videos, and they'll give like timestamps and, you know, what day it happened and where. And there was some cities towards the equator where their transformers were just blowing up, and the electric lines, the lines in between the power lines, were just on fire. Now that could have just been the overload of the transformer, but that happened a lot over the last summer. But that's what's going on, is, you know, that's one reason why they're spraying, is to try and keep that from happening. There was a big transformer in New York too, over around the same time. What you're seeing when those lines are blowing up, that's plasma. And the plasma color will change depending on what elements are in the air there. So, you know, they've always said, oh, it's, you know, to cool the earth. I mean, the whole global warming is changing to climate change. That is a half-truth in the sense that, yes, the climate is changing and the globe is slightly warming, but it's not because of humans, it's because Ra and Horus have shown up. And I mean, just like here, I don't know. Let's see if I can find a good. Like in my video today. Let's see if I can.
I mean, there are a lot of things that the humans are responsible for in the term of what's going on with some things in the planet, like the bleaching of the coral reefs.
Is it? I don't know.
Sunscreens bleach the coral reefs, so that's why they created mineral sunscreens. Yeah. The chemical in chemical sunscreen is bleaching coral reefs. So now you should, at least, and we have only mineral sunscreen. And the pollution and stuff like that, but the global warming is
This right here?
not us.
The global warming is Earth drawing in energy from the bow shock, induction heating. And when energy travels through matter, and the Earth is matter, you get electricity. And when electricity travels through matter, it creates heat. So the core is heating because of all the energy flowing through it, creating electricity. So therefore you're getting heating. So that's why your earthquakes are increasing, because the core is heating up. So therefore you get the increased volcanic activity. And neither one of those can you contribute to anything we have done, because that's coming from the center of the Earth. So when you have your crust heating up, therefore your oceans are warming, which is why we're getting all this flooding and hail that is increasing in size, because the oceans are warming. Therefore, storms are carrying more moisture and more energy and being stronger. That's why our hurricanes are bigger. We're getting more F5 tornadoes and increased numbers of tornadoes. All that ties into induction heating that's causing the planet to warm up. There's all the rifts that happened. Again, this ties into the YouTube channels that I watch, where it's just compilations. You'll see the big, huge cracks in the crust now, and everything's shifting. A lot more landslides because everything's shifting, because the Earth is swelling, because the heat is increasing. So what happens when you heat something up? It cracks and expands, which is increasing your earthquakes and your volcanoes.
What do you think about the hole in the ozone layer? Do you think there's really a hole in the ozone layer? I don't think there is.
I don't know.
I think it's something they're trying to use to blame for some things. I don't think there is one. Yep, like being microwaved. Do you have a microwave in your house still, even after being aware of everything? Do you guys still own a microwave? Because we just got rid of ours. And everybody hates it. My kids hate not having a microwave. Do you hate not having a microwave?
No.
Because we never really used ours a lot anyway, but...
Summer breeze. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say really induction heating there, because that's kind of a process. It takes time. Where I do think the Carrington event was an actual solar flare, because it was quick. It was bam, and done and over with. Where induction heating, in this case, on a planetary scale, happens over time.
Get rid of your microwave. You're worried about being microwaved outside. Get rid of your microwave.
We are getting microwaved outside. I work outdoors, and it has gotten worse and worse every year.
But I keep going back to, because my passion, again, is skincare and other issues that are problems. But you should never, ever leave the house without sunscreen, because you can at least protect yourself from the UV rays and the UVB rays. Now, the other rays, they do offer a sunscreen for, but I don't know anybody who could afford it.
I've seen one channel who was offering it. It was like $30 for one, maybe two applications.
Yeah, it's horrible, but please don't leave your house without sunscreen ever. I mean, it's just horrible. especially if you work outside. I cannot get him to wear sunscreen. I bought him a bottle recently. He will
That's
not wear
true.
it. But he does wear long sleeves now.
But the only way you can without getting that expensive sunscreen to protect yourself against UVC is thick canvas. Because UVC attacks the brainstem. It doesn't do the same as A and B. But we are receiving only a very small amount of it. And it should be absorbed by the atmosphere, but more is coming in now because we have 2 more ultraviolet suns around us. So that's more UVC. I mean, it's saturated the environment, the atmosphere, so it is now getting through. When you see a UV index of 9, that means it's a combination of A and B at a level of 9,000. But they make it 9. They change the scale to make it less scary for us. So when you're seeing a UV index of 9, and that means the UVC is 0.028. It's either 0.0028 or 0.028. So on a scale of 1 to 100, we're seeing, less than 1% of UVC, where the other 99% is A and B. So it's very important to protect yourself against A and B, but C is now becoming more and more prevalent. And the only way to really protect without those expensive sunscreen is thick canvas. And you really got to protect your head and spine, because that's where it attacks.
And in essence, the sun is stronger because the other sun has come up, the more stronger sun. So the sun has become stronger. I used to tan every day in a tanning bed. Terrible, horrible. But I won't set foot outside without sunscreen. And especially going to the, just outside, even with cloud cover, you should wear sunscreen. Because SPF 50 at least, mineral sunscreen, because the sun is strong. We have the bigger sun coming out now. The stronger sun. And it's cooking us. And the UVC, though, isn't at a level where we really have to worry that bad about it unless you're going to be long term. Like,
it's very, very low. It should be 0, and we're at like I said, 0.028.
yeah, but the UV and the UB, those are stronger now. The sun technically is stronger. That's why people are getting burned easier, because a more powerful sun is coming to the surface, becoming active.
I think a lot of that is the electric haze.
Magnifying it?
The electric haze is so reflective now.
Yeah, that too.
And then maybe combined with chemtrails, because chemtrails are reflective as well, but I think the electric haze is very reflective because that's how we're seeing, all these colors being projected on it so well. Like every night you look along the horizon after the sunset in the west, you look east right after sunset, and it's going to be pink and purple.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where we see the electric haze well, even though it covers us all the way over. It's harder to see, but it's there. It does cover us completely. It's just easier to see along the horizon, so that's where you're going to see those colors. So I think the haze, and that's where everyone, and this is just my opinion, everyone say, oh, the sun is so white now. It's always been white when it's above the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
It's just more people are looking now, and they just don't realize that it's always been that way. It's yellow down close to the horizon, and it's always been white over top of our heads, and they feel it's brighter because of the electric haze. And you just don't see the electric haze above the horizon unless you really got a good picture. Like you got some cloud cover where you got light coming through. You can see it over top of our heads.
I have that one picture.
I know I've got one. Get large.
But yeah, I agree with you, Truck Dog. I think it is a combination of raw and then the electric haze. Like John said, that makes sense. It would magnify. I hear people all the time saying, I don't know why, but it's got to be the global warming because the sun feels so much stronger. It does. Because we have the stronger sun now coming out and the electric haze now magnifying it.
And the microwaves, yeah. the microwaves as well, and I think the haze is magnifying it.
So please start
Here we
now
go.
wearing SPF 50 sunscreen. Please protect yourself. Especially, girls, if you don't like wrinkles, also sunscreen, because the sun is the first thing that's going to damage your skin.
Here you go. Here's the picture I show a lot.
I deleted all mine.
And it also shows the wave clouds, but you can see they're chemtrailing up higher, and then the clouds are a little lower. But here you can see that the light from the sun is shining on the haze, and this is, above the horizon. Maybe at a good 40 or 50 degrees up off the horizon. And this is the light. The light is shining on the electric haze, so you can just see it much better at the horizon than over top your head, but it's there.
Yes, technically it is still global warming.
Yes, technically.
Technically, yes, we will call it global warming, but it's not like that
And-
Greta girl wants to say.
Climate change is also technically correct.
Yes.
They just are telling you the wrong reasons. It's because Ra and Horus are here, and the main reason for the warming is the induction heating that the Earth is doing
Ooh,
to
good
push
one.
against these other magnets. Which we see as closed field lines. Right here. Here's a good.
Oh, I'm sorry you lost all those trees. I hate that. I don't like receiving flowers because I like them to stay in the ground. They're so much prettier, but it's so hard to keep flowers alive now.
Yeah.
My strawberries are going to be grown in his tent because we have nowhere to grow them.
So this is the reason for the close, where the energy is coming from. It's coming from the bow shot being drawn out, and then the energy to do it is pushed out. But you still have the induction furnace in the core. It's because the Earth is everything is a capacitor and an insulator. Everything. It's not one or the other. Even glass is a capacitor. It's used as insulators the most, but you can Google glass capacitors and you're going to find them. So that's the energy to do these pushes comes from the bow shock. And you're only seeing one cone, but usually you'll see two. And the other frame I showed earlier, this was all red, and it was red all the way around because that's coming from Earth. It's coming out. And I hope we're helping some people. I don't think we've missed any questions. By far, we are not professionals, but I think I have a pretty good understanding about a lot of things, and certainly not everything. But I do the best we can.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we've been talking this long. I know John was a little worried. He was like, what am I going to talk about? But there have been so many new members, and I thought we need someone to answer their questions. Sit down, and if they have multiple questions, just sit down and ask so we can answer and show examples. It's hard to just keep answering in messages, because I don't know, it is.
Let's see if I can find a good electric haze photo. Down low.
I don't want to say I pressured you into this live, but I
No.
may have scheduled it and said you will be there
Yeah.
because this is the face and the one who does all the work. And I'm just here to support him and kick his butt into gear. He's been very busy lately, so he's been lagging on some things, which is to be expected. Everyone does.
I don't have a lot of good examples of photos here because they're all on my phone.
I was gonna say that's really hard to believe because you have so many on your phone. There's more pictures on his phone of clouds than of me.
I don't want to share you.
Good night, Summer. Thanks for coming and visiting. It's been good also to have these conversations. Like, I know one thing is I'd love to see more conversations
It's just not a good
on the page. That's where it's for, and it's almost like people are afraid to post and have a good conversation. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, this is my classic one. See, this is after sunset in the east. And basically right along this line, this power line here, this is right off our balcony. Maybe this one, but below that is where you'll generally see the haze line. During the day, it'll be white. It'll be brighter here and be white rather than blue.
I should get some pictures.
I know I got some good pictures on my phone, but they're just not going to show well here.
Picture it too far away.
But yeah, I mean, this is the cotton candy skies I talk about. Now, eventually, this will turn purple. And what all it is Horus is setting farther. See, our soul has set, so therefore we're still getting light from Horus, so that's why it turns pink and purple. And because, through the primary colors, yellow can't make red, pink, or purple. It's got to be, it's a combination of red and blue. Now, whether the blue is part of our atmosphere color or from the oceans, however that light actually works to color our sky, I don't believe there's water above our heads.
No.
So it may be the combination of red and blue may be Ra and Horus together to make purple. But this light starts pink low, and even the mountains will be pink, and then it'll eventually just work its way west as Horus sets lower and lower. And that's why we'll see red in the west as well, because that light has moved from east to west, just like the sunlight from our sun does. The light moves east to west. I wonder if I can find that little cutesy drawing I made.
Yeah, Kendra, I think you have more of a chance of getting the flu than the coronavirus, but remember, stress can make you sick.
Here we go.
I love your little drawing. Your daughter has a tablet for art, and that's what your drawing
It was
looks
like the first drawing on paint I did, so. So here is why we see the red. This is why yellow light goes away, and then we'll see red in the east, because Horus's light is still above the horizon. And then as Horus sets, now, we'll just see the red, and then, as it sets, the color will move to the west, and then we'll just see red here, and then none at all. Now, to get back to something where, why don't we see, we're orbiting the sun. How could Horus always be behind our sun? And there's just, I don't know, but there's so many indicators, especially the red light. The Ferrel cell in our sky now, because of the chemtrails, showing us that. If like in my video, if like we know from Ferrel, looking at Scientific Lee's videos in the Ferrel cell, if that was just showing the magnetic signature of our sun, then why is the inertial plane so far out, the edge of it? I don't think I have a good sundog picture, but why, everyone's pretty much seeing, here, I got this. If this is just a magnetic signature of our sun, then why is the edge all the way out here instead of here? It would be, the sundogs would show here and here instead of way out here and here. Why do we have all the red light all the time, every day? And you could say forest fires or iron oxide, but that wouldn't be every day in every part of the world, though. And those are the things that still kind of cements my belief that it's there, even though we are still orbiting around the sun. And I still have that slight doubt myself. And it's like, well, yeah, we're orbiting the sun. How could Horus stay behind it? But then we just have all these indicators that just says to me, yeah, he's still there. He's still there. We know it's a red sun. The ancients told us, the hieroglyph that Eric talks about all the time is talking about 3 suns, and we are deciphering some of these the ancient languages, and we've learned enough to say, no, they weren't talking about gods. They were talking about planets and suns. So there's those questions that just doesn't answer it, and then there's the ones that do, and it's just there's too many that confirm that it's there, then there's not. So to get back to that one question,
I know lots of people have said Venus is showing up different. We've had red, we've had, now you say purple, but when we see it for ourselves, where we are here in Virginia, it's a bright white looking star. Because I actually said that can't be the North Star because it is so bright and
you
white.
mean Venus?
No, I
I'm
confused.
sorry.
I kept asking you, that can't be the North Star, right? Because I always thought the North Star was the brightest star in the sky. But for us here where we live, it's Venus. Venus is the first thing I see.
Technically, it is the brightest star because it is a star, and Venus is a planet.
Okay.
So Venus is the brightest planet, and the North Star is supposed to be the brightest star.
Venus is the brightest thing we see in our sky,
Yes, besides the moon.
besides the moon.
Sorry, I'm a technicality guy.
Yeah, try living with them. But that's okay, it puts up with sarcasm.
So Chuck Dog, I think that depends on the layer that they laid the chemtrails, why it looks bigger and smaller. Now this year, if they started spraying again, we do, like it always in the winter, we always have better colors up here in the northern hemisphere. We have more red. In the summer, it's a little less, but in the winter, I always think the red color is much better.
Yes, Venus has gotten brighter. I will agree with that because, like I said, I always went, I don't understand. That can't be the North Star because of where it is, because it is so bright. It's actually brighter than the North Star. But like you said, it's a planet, not a star, so the North Star is still brighter. But yeah, it's getting brighter. But it's Venus. I mean, it shows up. You look at the books, you look at it's Venus. Why it is getting different, and it has to do, I'm sure, with everything that's going on. Everything is going to change. When you change one element, other elements are going to react and change. So we don't know why all of a sudden it's doing it, but then again, back in the day, the moon didn't do cartwheels. I mean, that's how I would put it, is right now we don't know why it's changing or what it's doing that makes it look like that. But it is Venus, and now we can say Venus sure is changing also.
So you're with Jen Kendra up in Denver?
Where did you get that from?
Me and Jen Kendrick.
No, me too, Jen Kendrick.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
me too.
But I don't think Jen Kendrick is in here.
Yes, she is.
Is
You
she?
missed her. She came in.
Oh, hi Jen. I missed you.
I
Coming
saw
in.
you.
I've been busy talking.
Yeah. And Green, I guess he never left. He's been in here. A
Yeah.
river runs to him.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Getting closer, why it would be brighter, but it would also look bigger. And
Bigger, but I did notice that it is bigger, but as it sets, because there was 2 weeks ago, I was blowing up our group chat, and I was spamming a bunch of pictures because it's been cloudy for 3 weeks, and it was a great evening, and it cleared out.
Yeah.
And I did notice as the suns were setting, the ring got bigger. So that, the cloud layer, or where they you take a magnifying glass and you move it up and down, the light spreads out, so it does depend the layer of how close to the layer of clouds we are. That determines the size. Did Mark ever have any comments?
no, he isn't. I don't know if he's still here, because
Okay.
I don't know if that was a good night when he said send everyone his love, or if he's still here. Although I may have missed it because Facebook is. Oh! I may have
You're
missed
not
it.
paying attention, girl.
Oh no! It's okay, Mark. I'm sorry. I wasn't sure if you were still watching, but yeah.
That's 2 minutes ago, so we're still here.
Yeah. So keep messaging me on this. I promise I'll pay attention now. I apologize. I have to say, I always take pictures and show him, and he's like, I've seen that before. But you know who got the Big Dipper on camera? Me. So. Right
Okay.
now, I just looked outside and it just looks dark. I don't even see, usually I can see like you can see clouds, I guess. Like when but right now it's just black, but it's not clear. I don't know what that means.
And that's the electric haze. The electric haze is making it harder to see because it's covering us, but it also, as I was saying, was more reflective. I'm seeing more light pollution. When I drive to work, I've been doing the same route for basically 15 years. And I can see towns that I've never been able to see light pollution, or very rarely in certain clouded conditions. I'm seeing that light pollution. You know, my horizons are brighter now.
We're in Virginia, Jen.
And so that's why, you know, our horizons are brighter because the electric haze seems thicker there. So as it's reflecting the light pollution farther out to where we're seeing those towns and light pollution farther away. Like where I work is, well, as you travel along the roads, it's 75 miles, but the way the crow flies, it's more probably around 55 miles. I've never been able to see the light pollution from where I work from home, but now I can. It's not every day, but most days I can see light from light pollution from 50, 60 miles away.
Yeah, it's been very few nights where we have a clear sky, but I love it because I love looking at the stars. I've always been a star lover, stargazer. My daughter and
Yeah,
I, actually, there's a cliff that we go to where we can see. We went there for the meteor shower when was that meteor shower? The meteor shower, that the big one that happened, I think 2 months ago. But it was beautiful. There are so many places to see and look up in the sky around here. It's just amazing.
Did Kendra ask you a question?
No, she's just.
How many stars are visible when he is and he pointed to an area the stars were not shining? I'm not sure my directions here. Dark out area.
Well, if you have a Star Tracker app, like John has, Jen, like when he points it out right now, even though there's a bunch of clouds, it'll show him what should be there. So if the clouds line up.
I mean, yeah, with like I use Night Sky. I think that's really an
It's an iPhone app.
iPhone app. You can sit in your house and it'll still show you everything. You don't have to go outside to use those apps.
I haven't found a good one on Android. I don't like any of them. I'm gonna get myself a old, what would it be? Starbook?
Yeah, really, we need to get something that's not electronically manipulated,
Yes.
like a book. You know, that's going to be how we're going to tell. You know what is really wrong, because these apps we're using can be corrected to the way the sky is. Like there is a website, I think it's timeanddate.com, that is actually tracking what the moon is, how the moon is turning. It does that. That's the only one I found. I think even that app that you had was following the moon turning.
Oh, it did, yeah. But like we've all learned, media lies, everybody lies, things are kept off the internet and hidden. Why wouldn't our stargazing apps be affected? So we really want to get astrology, an old astrology book, so we can start reading the stars, or without them being able to be tampered with. No, this is the one I hate. Here we go. I've used Star Tracker on Android. It's okay.
In my opinion, on
Yeah.
Beetlejuice, yeah, see this app she's using is showing the moon turning like a clock. So I mean the apps.
Look at this. M76. What's M76?
Oh, a star.
Hmm.
They don't have a
Venus.
name for them. They just put numbers on them.
Uranus.
So I say if you really want to learn, you know, how the stars should look, you should really try to get an old book or an old star chart.
Ugh, I do not like Skyview free green. I did not like it. It is too chaotic.
Well, our sun is much brighter than, is much brighter than Horus. We do see, like, here's a good example that I downloaded. Why is it brighter inside the ring, or darker inside the ring? But our sun is much brighter. Yellow is much brighter than red. And it's behind. It's not in front. It's behind it. So there's a distance behind. We don't know the distance between them, but the sun is still in front of Horus.
Are you still hot? Because I'm freezing.
Still hot, yeah.
Jesus. Cold.
It just depends. I think it just depends on the pictures. And I think the pictures from the equator show much more detail. That's where we're getting all the crazy rings. They're all from the equatorial areas. They're more than what we see in the subtropic areas. The tropical areas get much better. That's where we're seeing. You see those pictures of the ring plus 3 other rings all around. They're down in the tropics and near the equator.
Everything's better near the equator.
And they also get more rain. That's where a lot of the flooding's going on is. I mean, Mexico got, over our summer, Mexico got 6 feet of hail. One town. 6 feet. I mean, I've never ever heard of that much hail. Yeah, I say the black star is Ra. The blue spectrum sun is like a black light. You don't see a black light once you turn on the light.
Yeah, I grew up in Illinois where, we make jokes that it's so flat you can see down to Tennessee, so it was amazing to look at the sky because you didn't have anything blocking your view and you could look at the stars. And we were just talking about this today, is John wanted to know if I'd ever heard of the saying Cheshire Moon. And I was, yes, when I was a kid, my grandfather would say, look, it's the Alice in Wonderland moon. But it wasn't with the smile facing up. It looked like you'd always have to tilt your head to the side, but it was still that. And that saying is around, but it wasn't a true Cheshire Moon where it went like
what we're seeing right now. Like, right now it's the true Cheshire cat smile moon.
Illinois, we're in Illinois. I miss Illinois. We're going to go back this winter.
Well, Jen, on ISWA we can calculate locations. Let's see if I can find a good example. There you go. In fact, this is one I've used. It's very simple. Okay, we'll just say for this object here, I mean the scale is RE, which is Earth radii, And we know Earth radii is 3,963 miles across the equator. So you just take this number, say 60. You don't worry about the negative. So you just take 3,963 times 60, and you're going to get roughly 278,000 miles. Because I know that because this is
You have
where
to speak up. She can't hear you. He likes to talk soft. Oh, northwest corner. Where? I grew up in Buffalo Grove and, Lake County.
I think Mundelein.
Oh.
Jason Hart's up in near Grays Lake and stuff.
Oh, I grew up in Grays Lake too.
Or Gurnee, well, yeah.
Gurnee, I grew up in as well.
So as I was saying, the scale here on the bottom is in Earth radii, RE, and it's the same here. So you look up Earth radius, and it's 3,963 miles across the equator. So you just take this number, like for this example, this object here is at 60, negative 60, so you just do 60 times 3,963, and you're going to get roughly 278,000. I know that because this is where the moon orbits. So that's how you figure it out. So in this example, we're seeing a pressure difference, and the IMF is crossing. So here in this example, I judged, say, 8. So I'll just calculate 3,963 times 8, and it's going to be 31,704 miles. So this object here is only 31,000 miles behind us, which is well inside lunar orbit.
Galena, that's Cook County, right? Yeah, Galena.
Are you asking my job, Kendra?
Oh, Joe Davies County.
Oh.
See, you have to talk loud like me.
I got there. Okay, I've got the input all the way up.
Is it the dog?
Maybe. Maybe both. Yes, that's right, Chuck.
Or maybe the cat. I don't know. One of you two. Do you still live in Illinois? I've heard it's gotten very, very expensive. The taxes are ridiculous.
Here's another example. And these are posts I've put in Catfish Glass Eye in the past. Haven't done them in a while. I should probably repost them.
How big is it? See, talk loud like me. Like,
Well, I'm not a loud talker. Well, you can calculate size by the same way. If you can estimate it, I've turned it all the way up. And
I'll hold it.
you can use it. You can calculate size as on this side of the scale. You still just do the same thing. It's still RE. So if your object is covering from, say 2 to 2, that's 4. So you just do 3,963 times 4, and that's going to give you your size.
Look, they can hear you now.
Well, I also turned it all the way up. But, the microphone is reacting to me.
I can can stand back here and I bet you they can hear me just fine.
Well, I'm a softer talker. I could put it in my mouth.
Oh, that probably sounds terrible. It's like ASMR.
What
Nothing.
the hell are you smiling about?
Not you, Tyler. Don't worry.
I wonder if they heard him because he talks loud too.
We gotta understand, Mother Earth was designed for this, Kendra.
Fanny boy.
Hey, can you put him out? I think he has to poop.
Sleeping.
I
He's
think
sleeping.
he has to poop. Finn, did you go potty?
He's sleeping.
He's like, no, leave me alone.
He's sleeping.
You'd have to look that up, Green. Circumference, but the radius is 3,963. You know, across the equator.
Say hi, you were just on camera.
That's all right.
No, it's Earth radius. Earth's radius is 3,963 miles across. So if you measured across the Earth's equator, it would be 3,963 miles. Let me go back up to, where's that example? I didn't move my thing. There we go. Yeah, so here's another example. You know, you just across Earth's equator is 3,963. So the scale here is it that you can see here it says RE, which means Earth radii. So to find the distance back behind the Earth, you just take this scale and multiply it by 3,963, and that gives you, in this case, the object was sitting, well, say negative 15. So 15 times 3,963, you get 63,408 miles. Yes, things are very close, and we're all still here. So the fear porn of Nibiru this and Nibiru Planet X that, we have planets right here, right now, and yet we're still here. So we just got to remain calm and not freak out and filter out, you know. One thing I'm noticing is people are getting all stressed out about all this and that, and you really just gotta start filtering things out. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people who want to know everything about everything, but is knowing everything about everything gonna help you? It seems a lot of people, they're just stressing them out because they're trying to keep up with it, and the government's doing this and the government's doing that and this and that, and it's just,
It does not matter.
you
what
gotta
the government is
you gotta
doing.
reduce the noise. You know, garbage in, garbage out. So if you're trying to find out about everything, you're gonna get overwhelmed. So you're gonna have to prioritize what's more important. Is it really important to know, about, what's a really good Project Bluebeam? That's one of the stories out there right now. Is it really important to know about that project, and is it actually true anyways to begin with? I mean, does it really matter if they can put holograms in the sky? Which I don't think they really are. I think it's some kind of weird illusion or some fake picture, but I don't know. it doesn't really matter to me, so I don't look at it. I mean, I have seen some images, but it's just something I saw in a video and I ignored it because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't pertain to electromagnetics because electromagnetics is everything from the molecular to the galactic, and that's how everything works. So when you understand how things work in the everyday life and what we're seeing, and some plants and flowers and trees and our bodies and animals, how things are made, that's what's important. And once you understand all that, you realize that you'll be able to understand a lot of these things. They're using a weapon out there now. It's like, no, it's just electromagnetics. We know where it's coming from and how things work, and we realize that we're not seeing all these things that we're seeing now 2 to 3 years ago. So we know that Ra and Horus are moving in, and we're getting all this extra energy now that wasn't here. So planets are not bringing energy here. And this energy is coming from stars and suns, because planets only get their energy from suns. They have nothing without a sun. So the whole talk of planet this and planet that, and it's just BS, because once you understand electromagnetics, you can start to filter out the BS so much easier. And then you realize, I really don't need to look at this and that because it isn't important, and you'll be able to filter out that it's just not true because you know and understand how things work. And that's why we push Scientific Lee so hard, because he'll teach you to understand that, and then you realize that none of that other stuff matters. So then you're much more calm. You're not looking at 400 different things and worrying about it. It's just, you can just relax and focus on the 2 or 3 subjects that really matter. And then you're so much less stressed. And that's what I keep saying, filter the noise, cut it, it helps you calm down. And then you be more relaxed, and then you can probably realize and be more beneficial for what we need to do in the future coming soon.
Definitely very easy to get overwhelmed when you get into this and you start seeing and having your feelings validated and what you're seeing validated. It's very quick to get avalanched on with all this stuff. Oh my God, I'm noticing that. Oh my God, I'm noticing that. Oh, I'm finding that answer. But really, yes, there are answers to everything that is fun to find, but there's ones you should be focused on, and those are the ones that matter. And you really have to learn to focus on those. And even though, yes, if you dig through that, you're going to find an answer, and it's going to be like, oh yes, I found that answer, but that's it. So I mean, everyone wants to learn, and especially when you first are onto things, you want to absorb everything. You're like, oh, I gotta watch about this, I gotta watch about that, that's why it's very important that John put out, this is the videos that matter, this is what you need to be worrying about, this is what you really need to be focusing and learning about. The moon is just the stepping stone to becoming awakened. Awakened, whatever.
All right, and Jen's question is, no question is dumb, but why isn't our moon showing up with a magnetosphere reading? Is probably because they've told the satellites to ignore it, because it isn't pertinent, and that's they've just told the satellites or the model they ignore it, they cut it out or whatever. I think they do that in a lot of things. They just leave that information out. And the way we tell is by the magnetics. We may only see half the picture of an example. I'll try to find you something here.
That's the third time I've seen coronavirus in the conversation. Stop talking about the coronavirus.
Well, it's a big thing.
It's not a big thing. The flu is a big thing. Coronavirus is not. And the flu is only a big thing is if you have bad hygiene. Wash your fucking hands. Stop. Oh.
I don't care.
I said fuck.
No big deal.
Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Humans touch their face, I think it's like 3 times every 30 seconds or something like that. I don't know. Way too much.
I'm trying to find the heart. But I've got way too many. I'm trying to find the heart thing, but I've got too many frames. Because that's one thing you'll see with Scientific Lee. Was one of the first ones that fell in place for Lee. Because you watch him and then you'll understand Iswa. He has helped me immensely understanding this model. Yeah, Eric explains a lot. I mean, he doesn't ever tell me really anything direct. I pick up from what he says, but
Scientific is so nice to listen to too. Just his voice is nice to listen to.
Just watching, I think it's Fields in Motion. That's really put together everything with Iswa. And I actually just watched one of those again. And no. But basically in Iswa, it doesn't show us everything. Not at all. We may see half the picture of something, but understanding half of it tells us enough. Because there is no real explanation of how to use this tool. We've got to figure it out on our own. And that's what we've had to do, because I've even emailed them. I'm trying to get instructions and they just won't tell me.
Why would they want you to read something that would show something that defies everything that they're putting out there?
Bullseye. Well, they won't.
It doesn't surprise me that they didn't answer you.
Well, I got some replies, but then when I actually had a formulated thing, they quit talking to me. Yeah, the professor emailed, never got back to me. I don't know. I can't find it. Basically, well, this is close enough. You'll see this pole cap line is coming around. Just imagine, well, here, I'll just do this. Brush, black. So the pole cap came around like this, and it was kind of ties into what I showed in my latest video. It showed the heart. And in Scientific Lee's video, he'll show you this. This is basically saying there's a magnet here and a magnet here. As you have reverse polarity lines field lines coming together, that's how they connected. If it was the same polarity, they would ball up in a circle. Sorry, that's a bad... So you got a magnet there and a magnet here. The field lines would ball up in a circle, like butting up knuckles, like this.
Butting up butts.
Butting up knuckles to push. If it's say north and north fields, they resist each other. They'll curl up and like this, and they won't connect. But if you have reverse polarity, a north and a north, or north and a south, I just can't. They curl up. See, I just can't do this sitting down. They'll curl up like this and join each other. But if you have the same polarity, they close up, and just like we're seeing closed field lines, they close up and will not connect. So when you see the heart on here, that is them basically they're opposite polarity, they will also, so that's them connect, but they'll only show this part, this only half. And that's just like in my latest video where I talked about this. You should just go watch it if you haven't yet. Where I was talking about Lagrange points. And that's the bigger thing on a larger scale. It's the way two magnets connect. The South Pole connects to the North Pole of the other magnet and vice versa. So it's what you get as a Lagrange point. Did I miss you watching for questions?
Yep.
Well, we know aliens exist, Kendra.
I knew that.
They're running, and their one name is the Anunnaki, and they're running this planet through the Vatican. See, the Vatican and the three-city rule. The Anunnaki control the Pope. The Pope controls the Pope, the Queen, and the President are basically the three heads of this planet, controlled by the Anunnaki. And there obviously are others because Eric talks about the ant people. So, but that's just, yeah, I mean, we're not going to find real evidence of the Anunnaki or the ant people until we see them for ourselves because they've been hidden. But that's the way, even if it's no Anunnaki, our world is still run by three-city rule, the Pope, the Queen, and the President. But
Green. Oh, God.
But really, it's the Vatican running the world. So all this shows as our Father returns. Yes, our Father will return one way or another. Though I believe in creation in the sense of there has to be a being that has created everything. So therefore, there must be something out there. It doesn't just appear. I don't believe in Jesus or the Bible, of course, because the Bible is, in the Quran, they all, in the cuneiform, all come from Sumer. That's something that Eric is way more knowledgeable in. That's just not something I follow too much. I trust Eric, so information like that I take from him. But in the whole creation God thing, my views have changed since Scientific Lee, because something has to be out there that's created all this. And Eric says, that being is the Father with capital F. Mother is in earth, is a child of that. And where Ra is our original son, so technically the earth's father is Ra, because that's our original son. And Eric believes that we will, through this perihelia event, we will transition back to Ra, where the earth will have much more energy, so therefore everything will grow bigger, like the huge trees that we talk about as the big stumps, the around the world, mainly like out west, you can see those mesas. A lot of them look like tree stumps, petrified tree stumps. And and that kind of ties in with the dinosaurs to me. Under Ra, with more energy, everything would be bigger. And I think the dinosaurs disappeared because of one of these perihelia events, Ra and Horus return. And that's where we transitioned to yellow, our current sun, so which is less energy, so everything is smaller. So I think the dinosaurs disappeared from one of these events, and we obviously had transferred to Sol, so everything is smaller now. That's why we don't see dinosaurs and all that. We have evidence of giants, human giants, but all those skeletons have been hidden. I mean, all these lies and stuff all boils down to that we live in a trinary system, and therefore, through this event, we're gonna transfer back to Ra, our original sun.
What about Bigfoot?
Bigfoot's Bigfoot. It's out there. I think he's smart enough to stay hidden.
Yeah.
To even hide their skeletons.
Have you ever thought about how they eat their dead to honor them? Some species will do that.
I don't know. If we've missed a question, just repeat it, please.
Nothing. We haven't mentioned anything. Yeah, it's funny when you say all that. Do you imagine talking to your mom or your brother who are active in the church? Do you think they'd ever go for any of this?
No. They're too indoctrinated.
See, I believe the other way, the scientist. I like my explanation.
As far as Jesus, I mean, I've seen several stories about how basically a lot of characters in the books, they all have the same birthday. It's always Christmas. Out of like a list of 10 things, they all had the same birthday. So Jesus was in the Bible, and I think maybe in the cuneiform it was a different person who had the same birthday. They're just repeating the stories. I mean, Eric's proven that the Bible was just stories copied from another book with like biblical canon. So how can you trust a book that we know is half lies or half truths? And there's that kind of falls into a channel that I know of, that people like, it's got a huge following, and people, I mean, they're clearly lying if they're saying magma is falling from the sky and starting fires in California. But people still eat it up, and oh yeah, I know they're lying about that, but the other thing I believe is, if they're lying about 5 things, how can you listen to the other 5,000 things they've said? I just can't. If they're lying about one thing, they're lying about other things, and if someone thinks I'm lying or I'm speaking truth, please speak up to me, and I'm not gonna yell at you or talk down to you or say this and that. I'm gonna look into it, because I've always been a person that likes to hear both sides of the story. If somebody has the confusion in real life, I've always been that way. If somebody has an issue, I'm going to confirm both sides of the story before I formulate any kind of opinion, because one person is always going to say one thing and the other person is going to say the other, and I'm going to trust my gut on what is the real truth. So
I know that when I started not believing in Jesus, it was because, I grew up Catholic, so I was taught all of that, churchgoer, everything. But we were taught that Jesus died for original sin. That's what he, to save mankind, original sin, everything like that. But then I have to baptize my baby to cleanse him of original sin. So that's the church in itself saying, basically, Jesus wasn't real. Because even though he died to cleanse us of original sin, we're discounting that by making you have to baptize your children, or they end up in child limbo. That was basically them saying, well, Jesus isn't real to me. I know your dad said Jesus' birthday was in the summer. Remember, he always said he didn't believe that.
Well,
And and your mom said he was crazy.
Well,
Just saying. I love Christmas. Yeah, I don't believe in organized religion. I don't believe there's a organized religion on this planet that's true, because anything that we have our hand in can't be completely altruistic. Men are too greedy, so we're more spiritual.
I mean, you've never noticed I don't like try to tell people who do believe in Jesus that they're wrong. I mean, that's your beliefs, and I'm not going to tell them they're wrong. I have my beliefs, and I'll speak my beliefs, but I'm not going to really try to tell someone that their beliefs are wrong.
Yeah, that's something we have to stop doing, so people can come further in debate and conversation. It's just because I don't believe what you believe doesn't mean you're wrong. This is not a strip live.
You're right, it's not. Good thing I'm not stripping. It's too hot. How'd you end up on camera more?
You moved it. Oh, I'm sorry. Here. Is that better?
No. Don't be silly. I'm just getting us both in.
Yeah, I just try to avoid religion talk as much as I can, because especially with John's family, they're diehard Mormon. And, yeah, I just stay out of the talk of religion. I know what I believe in, and what you believe in is what you believe in. That doesn't mean that we can't have a healthy discussion. I mean, there's bits and pieces in every religion that I can agree with. I mean, I guess I really like Buddhism. I love Buddhism. But again,
There's truths and lies, but I mean, if it's both in one place, then how can you say the truths are true if they're lying half the time? So that's the way I see it. It's like crying wolf. You know,
that's the way the cookie crumbles.
you cry wolf 3 times, people stop coming to protect you from the wolf. They're gonna let you because they don't believe you anymore. Hey, that's my chocolate.
It's gonna melt by the time I get over there. My heating blanket's not letting me go very far. Oh. Oh. Huh? You know you do, Heather, kids. I don't understand what that's in reference to.
You only get 2. Leave me the other half. She's stealing my chocolate.
You have not had good chocolate till you had chocolate from
England.
England. Thank you. There, that's your piece. I get the rest.
I got a friend he's from England and he goes home like twice a year and brings us back chocolate.
Brings me back. chocolate.
American chocolate is not near as good as English chocolate.
That's because America lets all those fillers in their food.
Yeah, it's too waxy. And see, that's why. Oh, my daughter has shown up.
Where?
She says.
Oh my God!
She said nerds.
That's awesome.
That's why I don't really get into religion, because it's a topic that goes both ways, so that's why I stay out of it in the group and just be scientific
Tegan, nerds are cool, thank you. I can't believe she came in. That's so sweet.
She's probably been watching the whole time.
I don't think she would have. Oh, I think they're up there together. Do you hear them giggling?
Not really.
Yeah, I can't hear them.
Yeah, they are now. Do I need to ban you, Tegan? Put you in timeout?
Is she even still in it?
I don't know. All right, well, anything else? If not, I think we will call it the end. I mean, we've gone a good 2.5 hours, much longer than I expected,
Uh-huh.
which I'm happy to do. I don't want to do it too much, though.
People like to talk. I like to talk. Hey!
No. You had 2, I get 2.
I got called turd.
I don't think she's talking to you.
Yes, she was. Kendra, did you call my daughter a turd? I'm gonna ban you right now.
I love nerds. Nerds rule.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler said, no, I don't.
That's fine. You can go in there.
Your boobs are out.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
You can go in it. That's fine.
Tegan said nerd, and then you said turd, Kendra, so we were just joking around.
No, she called Tegan a nerd. I'm gonna ban her.
No, turd.
Calling me
Oh,
a
turd. Sorry. Well, come on here. Show your face. Just a minute.
You've been live streaming for like 3 hours.
I know. Can you believe it?
2.5.
I can't like come down and talk to you.
Yes, you can. Why do you have my keys?
Sorry, thought it was your brother. No offense. I'm not offended
Oh,
to be
yeah.
called a turd.
we know, Kendra. It's all good. We were having a little fun with it.
Yeah, could you hear Tyler laugh?
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh. We heard Tyler.
Tyler comes into my room and he said, you know how I have a humidifier? And I was like, yeah. He goes, what if I take a video in front of it and pretend I'm smoking? And I was like, do it. He goes, no, I don't want people to think I'm smoking. So don't ever worry about Tyler getting in trouble with smoking. Let's see. I said nerds. I got turd. I love nerds. Nerds rule.
See, you should come in and talk.
No.
Oh, it sounds like everyone is all. What about Mark? Did we hear anything from Mark?
Mark, anything you want to say? Go ahead and comment on the message. Otherwise, I guess we're going to sign off so our daughter can actually come down and talk to us. She's been avoiding. Oh, well, it would notify me if he did.
We just want to make sure. Nope. It's been 52 minutes for him, so.
He may still be watching. I wish you could see who was watching.
Well, I can, but only if they're participating.
Hmm.
So these are only.
Tegan, you're on there.
You're still in there. This is only people in the participants list who's typing.
Hmm.
And if they stop typing for a while, they
Oh.
drop off that
Oh,
list.
nope.
See, Tegan just dropped off now.
Did you leave?
No.
Yeah,
Say
see.
hi.
Yeah, Eric left pretty much the same time that I kicked that other person out. He doesn't do well in public, so he tends to stay away from it.
Say good night.
So, Oh, we got a new person, Robert.
He's been in there.
Has he? Okay. Hi, Robert. Haven't seen you yet.
A little bit earlier, he said something.
Oh. 8 viewers. So we have 8 viewers and 2, 3, 4. You know, 5 participating.
Hey, Mark. No, I'm not.
Let me see.
This is
So we can never tell if someone never says anything. We'll never know if they were actually in there or not.
Yeah, hopefully I can talk John into doing these more often.
Well, I see the point, but I mean, I like to spread them out a little bit more so that they're more interesting, more to cover rather than.
Well, more people just like to get on and talk, and sometimes some people can't make it the first one, or it's too early, or it's too late.
Yeah.
We need to do it different times of the day.
I expected maybe we'd see Trina, but I guess not. Trina from New Zealand. Well, let's refresh Iswa.
Who had the attitude? You
Nope.
didn't have an attitude, did you?
Oh, he might have been talking about it in the group that one day.
He's used to a lot. I'm a lot. My daughter's a lot. My son can be a lot.
Well, just keep it respectful in the group so we don't have issues. You know, so everyone, because that was the big thing with keeping the group private. I mean, private means it's still available to the public. Anyone can request to join, or you can send an invite to one of people on your friends list. But it just keeps trying to keep the trolls out and keep it to where people can comfortably come in and ask questions without having fear of being ridiculed or trolls or people being disrespectful. So that's what I'm trying to keep a comfortable environment so people ask questions, so that maybe I won't just be sitting there on my soapbox, because I don't want to sit there on my soapbox. I want to contribute. I started the group, I'm the admin, but it's not just for me to sit there and talk. I wanted a place safe for everyone so that we all could have conversations and discuss things. So that's why I'm trying to keep it. So that's why. Well, I don't think I think he was more suggesting something to you rather than trolling you. I may have I don't think I've misinterpreted that, because Heather kind of agreed with me as well. But she's the one that said that Ian's was just trying to make a suggestion. Am I correct?
Yeah, he was just letting you know you could pick up a book if you don't trust the app, which we have actually talked about doing, because apps can't really be trusted. I agree with you on that. So I know and then he apologized, and because he caught on that he may have put it out there rudely. So it's past, but we just watch that for future.
Well, there's light and dark, Green. With magnetics, there's a light and a dark side. And when you start understanding energy symbols like the flower is a symbol of light. The pine cone is a symbol of dark. Because scientifically, it doesn't explain necessarily light and dark in the sense of the more physical, but you start looking at the flower symbols on buildings, symbols of power, like the pine cone. The pine cone is a symbol of dark energy, and the flower is a symbol of light energy, or yin and yang, a light side and a dark side. So, like the Vatican, they know about how everything works. That everything is electromagnetics, and they show that in their symbolism. For example, like the pine cone. So, because the pine cone is is how the energy, which is specifically a halo wave, it's leaving the Earth as a halo wave, but it's interpreted as a pine cone. So, and I know that is considered one of the dark energies. So,
I asked Michelle to
you know, that's one way to kind of tell, where an organization may stand based on the type of energy symbols they use.
We have to wait till Thursday anyway for me to buy them. So now we can go to the Dollar Tree tomorrow.
You said they didn't have any.
Oh, Walmart. Twinkle lights from the Dollar Tree.
Did you know that I was looking at packs of clothespins and fairy lights like they're in the camera section and they're $10.
Yeah, that's why you just buy clothespins, not in the picture section. It's very hard to have miscommunication over comments because text is hard. I hate text because it's so hard to actually. You can't tell something being sarcastic, serious, condescending.
I think war is basically between beings, like humans. I mean, I don't think there's a war in heaven or space unless it's involving other beings like us. Because nature is about cooperation. So I think the only wars are between beings. Nature, I don't think there is any kind of wars. Sometimes, Chuck, you just gotta maybe just reread things. I have to do that. I jump the gun a lot, and that's kind of one thing I like. Why I do well online is it gives me that time to reread something. You know, I may read over something really quick and react, and then I'll get distracted, and I'll come back to it later, and I'll be like, "Wait a minute, I didn't even read that right," and I had that first impression in my mind. And then later on, when I reread it, I get a totally different interpretation from the words. So maybe try and before you react, wait 5 minutes, walk away, come back to it. It's something that helps me, and even I have to do that in everyday life with Heather. Is try very hard not to react first thing. You know, count to 10 or breathe for a minute. Like I said, I struggle with that. So sometimes you just count to 10, reread it 3 or 4 times, and realize from someone else's perspective. And there's so many ways to interpret words. That's why words are very important to me. I asked Heather. We were just talking about that on my Facebook page. She asked me to. The sheets and the blanket was on the floor.
You put them there.
She asked me to fix the bed, talking about the blankets and the sheets, so I put the blankets and the sheets back on the bed, but she really wanted me to make the bed, but she didn't say make the bed, she said fix the bed. So words are very important to me, and I understand them literally, which is why I don't do well with sarcasm. So, because I take everything literally. So, that's my advice, Truck, is take a breather, count to 10. Try not to react. Just come back to it later. And that's what I'm saying online is I can pause that moment and reflect on things where in person to person you don't really get that time because they're right in front of you, and you just react immediately, and that's how the situation goes. Where online, in written text,
Sweetie, you're
you
over-explaining.
You can come back to it at any time, an hour later, whatever. Okay.
That's another one of his little, my pet peeve. He over-explains, which is why he's a good teacher. He can explain it in different ways, but yet I mentioned something more than once or explain it in a different way. That's not okay. We have a lot of fun in our household. I thought that said infection is everything. I was like, what? Inflection is it? Yes. I don't understand that.
His energy.
Oh. I've had to change a lot of the ways I talk. But I have to do when we have a heated discussion or a discussion that could get heated, I have to stop and count to 30 and then see if I can continue rationally and calm. Again, Scorpio, also woman. And otherwise, I fly off the handle. And I hated that. And I hated being like that. No one wants to have a conversation with a lunatic. So,
Everything is a choice.
yeah. Someone could have chose to make the bed even though I said fix it. Even though they knew what I meant. But they chose not to. Don't even say it. You are on camera. Can you not clean yourself like a cat?
I'm not cleaning myself. I'm adding a little moisture to that.
With your spit full of bacteria. Oh,
No one can even see it anyway, so. Because I'm too far off camera.
well, it's gross. Let me just tell you.
No one will know if you didn't say anything.
Ugh.
Alrighty. One last chance. So you throw in a question or we're going to call it done.
And then he's gonna lick himself more. So gross! I don't know why I'm calling that gross. I kiss you.
Yeah.
But it's don't lick your. There's so much back. Oh, gotta leave. I was like, gosh, leave.
Calm your hearts. Try to connect to the field and talk to mom. And I'm struggling with that, but our heart is the connection to everything. Not the brain, it's the heart. The Egyptians did more, they cared about the heart rather than the brain when they mummified because they knew it was the connection. Check out Greg Braden. Greg Braden on YouTube. Or search his stuff. He's great information on that. Hello, better half.
Hmm?
Truck's better half saying
Oh.
I'm assuming is there. But there is no better half in a relationship technically because it's the two working together.
Yes, you're a partnership.
So
That is something
it's
you
a
have to learn.
partnership, not a dominant and a submissive.
I
I'm
make-
sure every relationship could be run that way. That's the choice of relationship, but it's not always one way or the other. It's a partnership.
He's my better half because he makes me better. I'm his better half because I make him better.
It's the Truck Dog Show. Well, Truck Dog's other half, you're going to have to watch the rest of this live stream. We're gonna have to replay it because I think we're going to call it a night, and we're down to 3 viewers, so
Or tune in next time.
no, yeah, we'll definitely tune in next time, of course.
We'd be very happy to have anyone.
So I guess that's it. Oh, and look at the moon. Check out the moon. That's going to tell you that there's things wrong. Start there.
Good night.
Talk to you.